Hello, this is Old Crow Balthazar, and welcome to Balthazar Strategic Arcana. So this is episode 4 of my Icarus mod descriptions vlog. Anyway, we're going to be dealing with technology, building units, unit morale, national morale, and diplomacy in this episode. So here we go. Section 3, technology. The cost of investing in long-range aircraft, anti-aircraft, and logistics has been reduced from 50 to 40 MPPs per chit. The cost of investing in heavy bombers and production tech has been reduced from 75 to 60 MPPs per chit, except for Serbia, which is reduced from 50 to 40 MPPs per chit for production tech. Comment: these changes are meant to encourage players to invest in these infrequently used technologies. My comment: except me and Tanaka, we always dove in deep with planes, but yeah, generally people just a lot of matches I did. Some people even said it was a waste of money. Actually, I don't think so, but there were so many other things going on in vanilla that you just couldn't justify it. Mainly because the matches, multiplayer matches, would end by 1916, and by the time the planes could be useful on the battlefield, well, they were redundant. So there you are. It's been addressed here. Okay. Selling tech chits. To start the game, Germany has been given 60 MPPs. Austria, Hungary, Russia, and France have been each given 44 MPPs. In return, players should observe a house rule that they will not sell any tech chits on the first turn. Yeah. Comment: this house rule is needed to reduce Essential Power's first mover advantage, which can be greatly magnified by selling tech chits on the first turn. To compensate, extra MPPs have been given to these Fit 4 majors and enable them to operate 2 or 3 cores in a turn. Yeah, this house rule is imperative if you want to stop the gaming and exploitive move Montenegro Gambit, which I coined it a gambit, but it actually, I rechanged the name to exploit because that just solves that problem immediately. Germans get a hell of a lot of money to get the first move. So if you use this house rule, in compensation you get 60 MPPs, because there are some units. There's a core up in the Danish border and a Marine unit, and if you need to fine tune a little bit on the first turn, you can. All right. Building units, section 4. Division size units. Both Russia and Ottomans have been given the ability to build a certain number of infantry and cavalry divisions. Comment: these units exist in the build menu, so I decided to give some to the 2 majors that could use smaller units to defend a larger territory. Yeah, that's awesome. Use division level units in Crispy's Fall West mod in War in the East, or War in Europe. Sorry, wrong game. They work well, and at this scale works great, especially in large areas like I could say Persia, Arabia. The interior of these vast areas. Okay. Changes to build limits. The Ottomans can now build 6 infantry divisions at a cost of 150 MPPs each. Their build limit for corps is reduced to 18, down from 22. Comment: given Ottomans' MPP constraints, this makes it more affordable for them to build a new unit in most turns. And this is my comment. Yeah, this is hugely needed. Their coastline of that vast empire was not undefended, but there's just not enough units. But they weren't corps either. They were divisions or ad hoc units that were put together, but they were larger than the garrisons or detachments. So there's that. Canada can build 2 destroyers. In the UK, build limit for destroyers is now 14, down from 16. Comment: building 1 or 2 Canadian destroyers may be useful if German subs raid off the coast of Canada and the USA, and they will. And the Atlantic is big. Greece can only build 3 corps, down from 6. That's brilliant. Me being a student of the Balkan Wars and studied orders of battles of those countries extensively, let's just read. Comment. Greece's original build limit of 6 cores is out of proportion to its Balkan neighbors. The same 6 Greek cores can be mobilized through decisions if an enemy approaches, but after combat lasts, only 3 can be rebuilt. Yeah, that's good. The Netherlands could build 1 fighter and 1 recon bomber. That's great too. I believe there was a company called Fokker. That was Dutch. Anyway, I could be wrong, but no, I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, they did have an aviation industry. Comment. It seems strange to have an artillery unit, but no ability to build aircraft, unlike neighboring Belgium. Yeah, I would have to say that I think the Netherlands is a little bit more advanced with their aviation technology, which was newborn, right? It's only 10 years old. Okay, Sweden can build 1 artillery, 1 fighter, 1 recon bomber, and 4 cores, up from the 2. They received their 1 HQ in mobilization. As we'll lead in the next episode, we'll be dealing with Sweden, some other changes Mike has made, and it's great, and it does mirror reality when it comes to the order of battle. Comment. These changes bring Sweden closer in line with other significant minors, such as Belgium or the Netherlands. Portugal cannot build fighters or recon bombers. Comment. I could not see why Portugal was given these aircraft in the first place. Yeah, I did a little research on that also, and yeah, they didn't have much. They did later. Portugal, right after the war, they did. Their civil aviation did take off. Particularly helped link traffic communications and transportation links with Mozambique and Angola, British Guiana or Guinea, down by Senegal. But that's a whole different story. I even have some stamps. Okay, Section 5, Unit Morale. Swapping units. Units can now swap places with an adjacent friendly unit at 0 cost to morale. Comment. This is a very handy game feature, especially in situations like the Western Front, where there is usually 2 lines or more of troops at the front. It represents the standard tactic of having rearguard units move up to replace frontline units that have taken casualties. It seemed a mistake to me to penalize the morale of units that use this feature. Yeah, I happen to agree too. I think maybe at the beginning it might have been a hot mess, but both sides got it down to a science of moving troops through trench lines to the rear and to the front, replacing them, rotating on a constant basis. So it became kind of a science. 5.1 Impact on unit morale of surrenders. The standard settings that penalize the morale of land and sea units when a minor or major power on the same side surrenders has been eliminated. Instead, the impact of a surrender is registered on national morale, not at the unit level. Comment. Has long seemed imbalanced to me that the surrender of minors would have an impact on the morale of majors, apart from possibly their direct parent. Since it's not possible to fine-tune these settings in the game editor, I have simply set them to 0. I absolutely agree with this. This also, this global demoralization of units, because a small country like Montenegro or Luxembourg surrendered, could affect Russia, which was used also. It was part of the Montenegro Gambit exploit, was to take out Montenegro on the second turn in conjunction with a Russia first attack, and all the units were demoralized. Hell, I'd say 90% of those people didn't even know what Montenegro was, and they certainly didn't get the news when they had Germans coming down on their faces. Montenegro fell? Where is it? Anyway, my rant's over. This got fixed. Thank you. Section 6, National Morale. 6.1, Naval Blockades. Okay. The effectiveness in terms of national morale points lost per hex per turn of both the British naval blockade against Germany and German unrestricted naval warfare against the UK has been increased by 50% in 1917 and 100% in 1918. Comment. These changes are intended to make the naval game for both sides a greater threat to national morale and to increase the incentives for a major German naval push against Britain later in the war. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jutland comes to mind. Otherwise, A lot of folks will just turtle the Navy. They'll go and crush the Russians and then just sit there. And even with a full blockade, it wasn't that bad. You could manage. So this is going to help. 6.2, reversing national morale gains and losses. I absolutely love this. I argued this from the very beginning. And we'll go on here and read. Many national morale losses due to towns and cities being captured can be reversed if the objective is recaptured by the side that originally controlled it. This applies to cities and towns close to national borders, which the original owners might be reasonably be able to regain later in the game. Specifically, these changes apply to, and here we go, France, Nancy, Belfort, Verdun, Lille, and Paris. For Italy, Udine, Padua, Venice, Verona, Tripoli, Benghazi, and Tobruk. Serbia, Belgrade, Niš, Pristina, Uskub, Cetinje, and Pec. Russia, Warsaw, Novosibirsk, Ivangorod, Brest-Litovsk, Vilna, Minsk, Riga, Batum, Kars, Tiflis. For Germany, Metz, Strasbourg, Thorn, Königsberg. Austria-Hungary, Lemberg, Przemysl, Krakow, Trento, Bruneck, Klagenfurt, Trieste, and Pula. Ottoman Empire, all national morale objectives inside their borders. UK, none. The same logic applies to all NM objectives outside their borders, which majors can earn NM points by capturing. If these objectives are lost, the capturing power loses the national morale points earned. Majors can gain national morale points by capturing the following additional objectives. This is, yes. So, for Italy, Trieste and Pula. For Serbia, Sarajevo. Oh, yeah, that's huge. I've seen Sarajevo left wide open. And why wouldn't they do it? But I wouldn't, because there was no, I'd lose the unit. But boy, I would risk taking Sarajevo. I mean, it's Bosnian capital. Russia, Königsberg, Thorn, Lemberg, Trabzon. Austria-Hungary, Venice. Oh, yeah. Ottomans, as mentioned above. Note that the scripts awarding national morale points for capturing resources have been amended for Italy, Russia, and the Ottomans, so that resources in question have to be occupied by their own national forces and not by their allies before the national morale points can be earned. The exception is Constantinople, or Istanbul, which will earn 5,000 national morale points for Russia even if it is captured by other Entente forces. I don't think they've called it Constantinople for about 500 years. Well, the Christians still do, right? All right, surrender and liberation of miners. The UK and France will lose 2,000 national morale if Belgium surrenders. They can recoup this national morale points if Belgium is subsequently liberated. France and Russia can recoup the national morale, the points they lose when Serbia surrenders if Serbia is subsequently liberated. Now, this is a huge thing. I argued this. Now, there was a few places on the map with the vanilla, like Verdun. It can be recaptured in national morale. This gives more incentive to someone to try to take back a key place that they lost, where before you might just go turtle and just ignore it. So it's going to make things a little bit more dynamic. And it's national morale, okay? So there's propaganda involved and everything. So, oh yeah, if the Russians recaptured Warsaw after the Poles, it's going to be a major effort against yoked out Germans, I'll guarantee. But if they manage, oh yeah, they would be crowing that. It'd be in their newspapers. The Tsar's chest would grow about 10 inches. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, section 6.4. National morale value of Warsaw. The national morale impact on Russia of losing Warsaw is reduced to 4,000 national morale points, down from 6,000. Germany gains 2,000 national morale by taking Warsaw, rather than 3,000. Comment. One reason why East-first strategies for the Central Powers have become so frequent is that Warsaw is such a huge national morale liability for Russia. At its original value, 6,000 national morale is the most valuable national morale target in the game after Paris and London. Russia incurs far more by losing Warsaw than they do from losing Petrograd or Moscow. This reduction to 4,000 national morale points makes Warsaw a comparable target to Verdun for Germany. It also means that the Central Powers will have to push further into Russia to capture more national morale targets in order to push Russian national morale below 25%, thus triggering the start of the Russian Revolution, or sit on their gains in Poland for many more turns before the Russians' cumulative national morale losses bring them below 25%. This is my comment. At first, I thought that was... I didn't like this because I always do France first strategies and then I pivot. You know, because if you let the Russians go too long, you ain't stopping them by 1916 or 17. But on further thought, and it actually works good. It works good, and I changed my mind on this. I did talk to Mike privately about this and thought that, well, us France firsters, which it seems to be a rarity these days, are getting punished now. But no, it's great because the Russia first, it's still strong. It's still a strong strategy, but it was once Warsaw went, the whole thing fell apart. So it's modest too. It's only 33% that he's made a change down. So it works. It works good. I've tested it, and I'm also in a match with him. I've seen what's going on, and it's fine. The last section for this episode is diplomacy. The probability of a hit per chit is raised to 8%, up from 5%. The normal swing per hit is raised 5 to 10%, up from 4 to 8%. The bonus swing against miners is raised to 10% to 20%, up from 8% to 16%. Austria-Hungary has its diplomacy chit limit raised from 4 to 5. The USA has its chit limit reduced from 5 to 4. Comment. These changes are made to make diplomacy a more attractive investment for both sides compared to investing in tech or buying more units. Many new options have been added for miners in the game that are only achievable through diplomacy. See the sections below on Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Spain, and Portugal. The Entente still has a significant edge in diplomacy chits, but these changes slightly rebalance the number, reflecting Austria-Hungary's historic status as diplomatic power in Europe versus the newcomers from the United States. I tip my hat to that. I like that. So that is the end of this episode. The next episode is going to be dealing with some huge changes that we play tested before even this iteration of the mod, which is now called Icarus. So we're going to be dealing with the next episode is going to be dealing with Ottoman Empire modifications and all the other countries where there's been modifications, and you'll get to see why diplomacy is going to be real fun, even funner than it is now. There's all kinds of good stuff. So anyway, this is Old Crow Bowser. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the virtual battlefields, or see you on this next episode, which will deal with the Ottoman Empire and a myriad other places, including Persia, Portugal. It's going to be very interesting. All right. See you later. I am gone.